Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. We made it to Thursday, guys. We made it to Thursday. It's the beginning of the weekend, even though I got to get up real early tomorrow and go back and do it again like all of you do. But I took all next week off, so I am excited. I naturally have Thursday and Friday off, but I took Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off. And man, I am pumped because I've been hitting it hard at work, harder than I prefer to. Just kidding. Just kidding. I like to give it my all, but sometimes you give it your all and people are like, oh, well, he can take more. And then they pile it on. But this week has been a good one, but it's gotten way better. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty well tonight. We're going to check out what we're going to give away this knife here to the lucky Gentleman Junkie out there. This is the Y-Start, and it's got a big, long numbered alphanumeric designation, so I'm just calling it the titanium folding dagger. This thing is sweet. This was donated to the channel, given to you through me by Dave of OG Blade Reviews. So this is going out to one lucky Gentleman Junkie tonight. It's got carbon fiber inlay. It has the basic look of a Fairbairn Sykes, and it will wave open on your pocket with these Quillians. And then we're going to show off what next month's is. That's a very special one. I can't wait to show that to you. And then we're going to talk about the one that got away. For me, I always talk about the Cold Steel Desperado or the Cold Steel Black Rhino. Those are two big ones. Some early Microtechs definitely got away because I was aware of them in the late 90s when they were only a few years old. Microtech, they started in 94. I want to hear what got away from you. And we're not talking about fish and we're not talking about ladies. We're talking about knives. Marco, how you doing, sir? Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies, he says. Good evening to you, sir. It's great to have you here. First one to comment, or at least the first one I'm seeing. Dave, we have Dave of OG Blade Reviews. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, Dave, I hope you're doing well. That Terzuola Custom Chris Fixie got away. Oh, be still my beating heart, because I sold it foolishly 30 years ago. It'd be worth 10 times the original price now, but also intrinsically irreplaceable. Yeah, man, look at the tears flowing from Dave's little happy face eyes, emoji eyes. Ground Fog, nice to have you here, sir. Ground Fog. We know that Chris's are difficult to make, and custom Chris's. But if you're interested, I know that Joe Watson can make a Chris. Beautiful Chris. James Hart, nice to have you here, sir. I is here, he says. Well, I is also, and it's good to have you. Interesting about your tool roll. We featured your comment on this midweek supplemental talking about throwing bike tools in a Ziploc bag as opposed to a knife roll. Or a tool roll. Hope you got that tool roll. Have a knife day. Nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, Junkalos. The one that got away, I went to the knife show. I was looking at a maker's table. I was eyeing a knife, and another maker snatched it up and bought it. That's not fair. But if it's another maker, you kind of have to, like, makers buying other makers' knives. It's like the ultimate compliment, because most of the time you're like, well, I could just make this myself. But to buy another person's knife as a maker, so in a way, that's kind of cool. Split and Slices, good to have you here, Byron. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Junkies. Thursday Night Knives pre-Turkey Day. That's right. I'm glad you mentioned that. Next week is Thanksgiving, and at this point, I will be passed out. With what do they call it? Gin. No, I'm just kidding. No, what do they call it? Tryptophan in the old turkey. Man, puts me right to sleep. Five Door, good to have you here. Greeting, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Says Five Door. Good to have you here, man. He stands to win this beautiful knife. Craig Vincent. Good to have you here, Craig Vincent. Evening, Bob and Beverly Bros. Beverly Bros, like knife bevel. I like it. John White. Good to have you here, John. Be sure and hit the like button. I appreciate that, sir. I always forget to mention that. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, blah, blah, blah. But thank you for doing that, sir. I appreciate it. Mimo, you've changed your name because I recognize your avatar, that beautiful Yojimbo. Good evening to you. Jason Cosby, good to have you here. Evening, everyone, he says. Jason, good to have you with us. Northern Knives, we have Mike here. Hello. Hope all are having a good night. Well, we are. I hope you're having a great night too. You got to go check out northernknives.com, not just for the knife exchange, which I'm always talking about, but the beautiful, I almost swore unnecessarily, the beautiful knives they make over there as well. Will B, good to have Will B with us, also stands to win himself a knife tonight. As far as what got away, I'll let an opportunity pass on the knife I let an opportunity pass on a knife at River's Edge Cutlery, and I'm still kicking myself. What was that knife, sir? Five Door says, the one that got away, a Dwyer. Oh, Dwayne Dwyer SNG with the best chisel grind. Great price, and I missed it by mere seconds. Now, Five Door has a pretty deep collection there, so I could see him. He's got some deep cuts, is what I mean. I think he even has a. Don't you have an old Dominion Blade Works knife, like a Chupacabra or something? I would love to have that knife. Donald Fry, good to have you here, Donald. Howdy, everyone. According to my wife, not nearly enough got away. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. At least now I get to say, well, I get some of these for free, baby. Mimo says, if anyone's spending Thanksgiving dinner alone this year, please let me know. I need to borrow some chairs. I don't know if you meant that to be funny, but that's pretty damn funny. And, mean-spirited in the most nicely spirited way. We got to be able to laugh. Alakai Torres, good to have you here. Alakai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm butchering it, sir, but please feel free to drop all sort of phonetic pronunciations of names in the comments. Hello, Bob. I found you only a couple of weeks ago, so I've been binge watching your old videos all week. Wow, man, no one has ever used the word binge for my videos. I greatly appreciate that, Alakai. Thanks for the grad level knife education. Well, you're quite welcome, sir. I hope you turned in your thesis statement. James Hart says, according to USPS tracking, I will have my new tool roll tomorrow. Nice. That took a minute, but we're used to just things just appearing almost instantaneously. John Tagomori, good to have you here, sir. Hello, fellow knife junkies, he says. Well, hello, John. You found the right place. Paul Mills, Bob DeMarco. Paul, pleasure. Good to have you here, man. Sword XXXY. Good day, Bob, Jim, and junkies. Sword, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a few weeks. I hope the world is treating you well, sir. Mark Stallman, good to have you here, Mark. Evening, Knife Junkies. Been a while. Hope all are fantastic. I'm doing great. No complaints. I hope you're doing well, too. Will B says it was a Bark River Bravo 1 or Bravo 1.25 in Magna Cut with a beautiful burl handle. Those Bravos are gorgeous. I had a Bravo 1 with the black micarta handles. That means this one's mine. If you know, you know. But that one I liked a lot. I got rid of it. I kind of wish I still had it. But if I were to get it again, I would get the 1.25 or just a longer blade. It was the blade to handle ratio. Yes, the Chupacabra is my pride and joy. Oh, man. I've been trying to get that guy and Casey on the show for a few years and be like, yeah, man, I'd love to. And then he's a busy knife maker. Adrian Fighter 35, good to have you here, sir. Hello, Bob, Jim, and everyone. Well, it's good to have you here, Adrian. You changed to a different picture of Homer, I think. Homer is one of my spirit animals. Just rub it on the wall, and if the grease stains make it like a window, you're good to go. I can't remember what the exact line is, but some of you might know. Split and Slices says, Jim, new product design for the store. PhD certificate diploma from Knife Junkie University. I added the university. Ready for Christmas 2024. That's funny, man. I like that. That's a pretty good idea. Do you have a PhD in knifeology? I don't know. Speaking of knifeology, bladeology. I was on the bladeology podcast. We recorded it 2 weeks ago now. The week after election. Yeah. So the election night has been three weeks away. This was 2 weeks ago. It was really cool. It was me, Jeremiah from PVK, and Chuck Adradis and Nick Chuprin. And it was an interview show, and I hope I didn't hijack it, but it turned into a straight up awesome conversation. It was really good. I feel like in a lot of ways, a couple of times I've been interviewed as the Knife Junkie, and I'm kind of like, most of my show is about other people, so it's like, yeah, but it turned into it was a great conversation. There are three very, very knowledgeable guys, but that was my first time meeting and speaking with Jeremiah from PVK, and what a cool dude, and what a great interviewer. He's on point. So that was a great show. All audio. So check it out. Bladeology. Isaiah Ramirez also stands to win this beautiful folding all titanium dagger. Now, you know me, I generally bristle at the term dagger if it doesn't have double edges. This one could. The swedge is thin enough that if you sharpened it below the sharpening notch and made it kind of, what do you call it, like a bayonet grind, it would fit below the handle and you'd be good to go. But and the swedge is very thin. It's just not sold that way. I venture to say with sandpaper, you could do a convex grind with a hell of a lot of patience. Isaiah Ramirez says, told myself I would never get an Emerson. Oh, I carried one today. But after your interview with him and listening to his podcast, I got his collaboration with Kershaw, CQC 6K. That's a great knife. Tried to dye the scales, failed. Well, they're black as the ace of spades, and they're that kind of cheap G10, if not just FRN. So, but the Kershaw, great gateway drug to Emerson. I did hear someone here not too long ago say that they had a problem with the lock bar, like a catastrophic problem. But I think that was due to some sort of like extreme use. But in any case, great knife. I had another one that got away, but that knife, you can get a trainer model for that too, which is cool. If you want to get used to using the Emerson Wave and pulling it out and, practicing against your bag or your friends or whatever, you can get an unsharpened version of that with holes in the blade. And I think they weigh it out pretty well. Jesse, good to have you here, Jesse. Evening all, he says. Well, good evening to you, sir. John says, wow, how do you enter for that giveaway? Which one? If it's this one, you have to be a Gentleman Junkie. That's our high level of support on Patreon. It's $10 a month for this. Next month we have something that if you don't have time to get on the boards for this one tonight, the one next month, and we're going to show you a picture, is going to be really sweet. It's very custom, so custom that, well, I guess it's not so custom because you didn't order it and it's not to your specs, but it's a version of this knife that you will be really, really surprised. And I kind of want it myself, but I am going to have to buy this from the maker. And in doing so, it will not be mine. I will have to pass it along to you all to make it actually worth it. But it is beautiful. I'm looking at a picture right now. I can barely take my eyes off of it. So you just go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon and sign up as a Gentleman Junkie. We have 3 levels of support. Gentleman Junkie is the top tier. The middle tier is the Tactical Junkie, and then the low tier is the Traditional Junkie. But they're all great. It's just that the top level gets you in the monthly giveaway. And since we're here, I'm going to jump past the pocket check just to let you know we have a new patron this week, and he is a Tactical Junkie at the $5 a month level. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Stephen Levinson. I love your movies. No, I'm just kidding. I am very grateful. Thank you so much for becoming a Tactical Junkie. I hope you enjoy it. And I must say that Jim and I are much, much appreciative of your signing up. So do one and all go check out TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. Pardon me. Interesting goings on in the world and here and everywhere, but we will get to that at some point. Just without being preachy, just make sure you look after not only your health, but your spiritual health. There's a lot of stuff floating around, let's say, and a lot of it ain't good. So, and I'm not saying I have my house in order, but I'm trying to get my house in order. So, just some crazy shit going on. So, just everyone be safe, be careful. And this is something I told my daughter. I thought it was very cool. I was like, I have to remember this. I said, because she was going somewhere after school with a friend. And I said, keep your head on a swivel and your fists on repeat. I thought that was cool. Like, don't just hit once, hit until the threat is no longer a threat. Well, yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna patent that one, and then if anyone ever says that or copyright it, then they owe me royalties. So keep your head on the swivel and your fists on repeat, or maybe well, we'll figure that out later. So anyone else having a good week? Anyone else actually get anything new? I got something new that I'm going to show off later from Doug Bull, one of our prized Gentleman Junkies. He sent me something. He sent me a package with 3 of the coolest things, and I'll give you a little. Oh, Cheeto, good to have you here. Cheeto Stardust. I like it, Ziggy. What's up, people? Have the Cold Steel 8010 S35VN and the Cheeto Design Fixie Cara. That's a cool knife. You sent me pictures of that. Fixed blade, Warncliffe, if I remember correctly. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I'm sure there's plenty I haven't even thought of as yet, but being as I only started 2 years ago, I have acquired 450 knives. I'm pretty sure over there they don't get away much. Yeah, my gosh. Over here they don't get away much. That's quite a collection. At some point you might cull it down, and if you do, get in touch. I might want to see what you got. I'm just saying. Steve-O Taylor, good to have you here, Steve-O. Good day from Australia. Good morning, Bob. I heard there is rehab for knife junkies, but nobody wants it. That's right. Hey, Steve-O, I've been watching a great show from your neck of the woods called Mr. In Between. I really, really like it. I love that character. I'm not sure if you ever saw Mr. In Between or whatever. It's an FX show over here, but I know it's from Australia. Such a cool show. I dig it. Stephen Clayton Jr. and welcome, sir. Thanks for coming. Stephen Clayton Jr. I was just thinking of you the other day, and now I'm trying to remember why. I'm sure it had to do with TCAL. Oh no, it didn't have to do with TCAL. It had to do with regiment blades, because we tried to interview Al Salviti last night, but we had a storm here and I lost electricity. So I'm going to be interviewing him on Saturday, but I know you carry one of his knives. Good evening, everyone. My TCAL knives, Agent 005 and Adversary are on the way. Oh, I want that Adversary so badly. And I was not in a position to buy it when it was in the pre-order phase. So now I have to call them up and see if I can. Okay, man. Because I also need to get a trainer for the Agent 001. I know, silly. I don't even have a trainer for my own knife design, but I really want a trainer for this and start practicing with it in a more serious way than just hitting the air. I want to hit my bob dummy, but I don't want to stab the bob dummy. It's already outside and prone to mold, so I don't want to stab it and get it all gross. Bob's Pocket Knives, good to have you here, sir. I just realized that I wasn't subscribed to you, and then I saw one of your shorts, and I was like, oh, boom. So subscribed to you. It was one of your Sodbuster videos. Anyway, good evening, Knife Bros, he says, and fist bumps. Today, I carried the brand new Crossroads series case. I know I saw that one, but I started following you a couple of days ago. It was a different Sodbuster because you're a Sodbuster junkie, and I love that. This one is interesting, this Crossroads series case Sodbuster. It's sort of a modern-looking Sodbuster. It has burlap micarta covers, S35VN blade steel, and it has bright orange liners. It looks very pretty. But you were mentioning that it looked exactly like, or very much like, a Knife Modder's Sodbuster, a Knife Modder whose name I don't remember, but who has begun making his own Sodbusters, and this is like the exact colorway. So I'm curious what you think of the case version. I love case Sodbusters. Probably, well, I'm not going to say that, but definitely one of my favorite models from them is the yellow Delrin Mini with the CV blade. I love that knife. Bando Picks, good to have you here, Bando. Got another Chavez and Data Crew sling last night. Is that for like a rifle? That sling, Data Crew sling. Sounds cool. Wilby says, I got the Night Elements V2 Ultra Kukri folder yesterday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of my favorite all-time knives. That was a gift from my wife, actually. It was, of course, due to a link I sent her. But, hey, a gift nonetheless. And that is such a beautiful knife. I'm loving it. Lighter and smaller than I expected. Smaller, but it still has a 4¼ inch blade. It's just with that overall arc of the blade, it just kind of fits. And man alive, I pity the fool who steps to that knife. Luck Knives, good to have you here, Mike. What up, he says. What up with you, sir? Been producing some sweet knives. Thanks, says Bob's Pocket Knives. If you guys don't follow, you got to go check him out. Actually, both of them. Paul Mills says, I've got my Mordax and Aries EDC Bloom today. That's nice. I want a Mordax. I've always wanted one, and I want one, and I'd love to have it reground. I don't even know what it's like, but I'd love to have a hollow, just a nice thin hollow ground version of that. Such a beautiful knife. Jay Sheehan, nice to have you here, Jay. In a knife fight, are you going Pikal, ice pick, or Filipino grip? Oh, man. Okay, so Jay, we are speaking 100% theoretically, obviously. Before I continue, I was talking with Al Salviti yesterday, and I looked at some of the videos on his Instagram feed, and man, some of them, it can end so quickly. It can end so quickly. So here's the thing, Jay. For range, to keep them away, I'm going Filipino grip or saber grip all the way. Filipino grip is this, where you have your thumb on the back of the blade, and it's for close in and pressure cutting, and then saber grip is this, gives you more distance, and you can be more percussive with it, thrust with it real easily. And then Pikal is tip down, edge in. Ice pick is tip down, edge out. So I guess tip down, edge out, even though I've trained that a lot, is probably my last thing I would do. If it were real close and real quick, I would go Pikal. I think this is all theoretical again. But if I had time, like one of these videos I saw, two guys were fighting. One guy had a knife, another guy didn't. And the one guy who didn't have a knife was definitely in and out and looked like he had some really sweet, some very good martial arts training, and he was respecting that other guy's knife. Another dude just walks up, gets his throat slashed, and he's on the floor, like blood everywhere, very quickly. So in terms of standoff, I would have it in Filipino or probably more like a saber grip. And if it's like you're jumped and someone's on top of you, Pikal for me. I mean, that's what I think about a lot. But I haven't thankfully, I've never had a chance to war game that out or not even test that. And hopefully I never have to test that theory. Geez, oh man. But yeah, go check out Al Salviti. I think he's Al_Regiment Blades or something like that. But man alive, there's some videos there that, and I don't like to see people get hurt. I don't like that sort of violence porn, but this isn't porn. It's informative. Like if you I sometimes get too high on my own supply in terms of all these knives. Oh, I do this and that. And then you see those videos. It's like, oh my God, your life could end like that. Like it's horrifying. So sorry for the lecture. It's not a lecture, but wow. I think about this all the time. And then when you see the reality, which everyone who carries a knife for self-defense should, it is very arresting. It's very and it's weird when you see someone get stabbed and they're like, what? And then it's terrible. Okay. Split and Slice, it says, I picked up the new, TPK CRC Austin Jackson designed Appalachian Ridge Runner. Beautiful clip point, Coke bottle shaped, or what do you call that? Really nice looking. A perfect niche sized, large modern slip joint, the size of a buck 110. Wow. At 50% cover thickness and 35% lighter. I didn't realize it was that big. But we know that Austin likes to design big knives. His the one named after the boat that his grandfather served on is a damn big knife. He's a great dude, and his knife designs are awesome. And I'm sure I'm sure it's beautifully manufactured. So congratulations, Byron. Now I got to get one. I love the look of that clip point too. It's a really, really nice and refined clip point. Sorry, guys. Mimo said, what did they use hardware instead of pins on the new case? I think it's T6 Torx screws. But ask Bob; he'll know. I'm pretty sure that's what he said on his video, though. Gaston Garcia, good to have you here, sir. Good evening to the Knife Junkies and Bob. So good to be here with Knife Friends. It's been a while, Gaston, but it's always a pleasure, sir. It's good to have you with us. Bando says Data Crew makes the best hip sling bag, more the hip. Oh, hip and sling bag, more on the hip. Oh, cool. I've never carried a hip bag. I did carry a butt. What do you call it? Butt pack? No, what do they call that? The fanny pack. I carried a fanny pack back in my hacky sack pot smoking days in college, but I haven't carried one since they've been cool and since you can put guns in them. Paul Mills says, I already had plans of hollow regrinding my Mordax. Nice. I think I've seen that before, and I think that's what got my piqued my interest about having that. Like, even if not, it looks like a beautiful knife. I've held them before, and the one that they came out with that had the super milled handle looked like a pocket shredder. But yeah, great knife, great looking knife. Pens and Pen Blades, good to have you here, Pens. Hello, everyone. Can't stay, but wanted to drop by and say hi and hit that like button. Well, thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Before you dip, let us know what you were carrying if you have the time. We always like hearing that. Chef Mercenary. Ooh, I like it. I like it, Chef. Chef, what do you got for me? I just had a delicious Philly cheesesteak omelet at my favorite diner with my family. My wife just came back from a business trip, and we met up there. And, oh, man, I love that omelet. But I know we're talking to a chef, so this is low bar. Chef, good to have you here. Hi, it's been a while. I lost your channel for a bit, but found you again recently. I don't know if you remember me mentioning you a while back about Malinika knives. Hope you are well. Malinika knives. Not sure I remember that, but it's going down here. Malinika. Chef, is that your favorite knife to cook with? Assuming you are a chef, let me know. Michael Upchurch, good to have you here. Sup, everyone. Well, sup with you, Michael. Hope you're doing well and enjoying this autumn Thursday evening. Split and Slices says, for your information, if one can, check out Knife Right's year-end fundraiser raffle. I'm sure you meant raffle and not waffle. Oh, maybe you did mean waffle, actually. I get you. For some cool Hogue and Sig Sauer prizes. Yeah, sometimes it's only legal to eat waffles. Let's put it that way. Craig Vincent says, my Cold Steel Swift 3 came today. Now, that was an interesting move, I thought, to do a Swift 3 because it is still it's a good looking knife. I got to say that. But it just goes to show that there is still a gigantic market for assisted opening blades, and that Cold Steel Swift is a looker. I found it in my mailbox right as I was leaving to attend an activity at school. That meeting was the longest 2 hours of my life. Yes. Okay, so she's flunking. What else? Is there anything else I need to know? Okay, you're gonna hold her back. All right. Okay, your terms are acceptable. I got a knife waiting for me. Just kidding. Ground Fog, good to have you here, Ground Fog. Have I said hi to you? Well, hello again. Knife fighting, also known as spicy tag. Yeah. Winners bleed, losers gush. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Nice to have you here, Angry Tom. Hey, guys, he says. Hey to you, sir. It's good to have you here with us. Adrian says, I'm fairly new to knife collecting. So for me, the one that got away is the Cold Steel Vaquero Grande or something. The one that you have that's discontinued, also satin finish Marauder. Okay, let me address the Marauder first. The Marauder that got away for me were when they were hollow ground and the balance was closer to what I like. The Marauders now are full flat ground and they're blade heavy to me because the handle is such light, grippy, grivery material. The hollow grind really lightened the blade, but I never got one back then. The Cold Steel Vaquero Grande is a cool one. That's the original version of this. This is the Vaquero bladed Voyager. This one is the signature edition, but you can get the regular edition these days, but it does differ from the one that Adrian was talking about, which has a different handle. And though the blade is this curved Yatagan style blade, it does look different. I have mine over there, but I don't want to be antisocial and go get it right now. But yeah, that Vaquero Grande is pretty sweet. But I got to say, this is a pretty damn excellent. It'll do till the real thing gets here, because it's got the triad lock, whereas the Vaquero Grande had only a very strong regular back lock. And this is a ½ inch shorter in blade length than the Vaquero Grande. But back then, when they were making the Vaquero, they had a 4-inch, a 5-inch, and a 6-inch. I had the 4, and I have the 4, and I have the 6. I never got the 5, and now I wish I had it, just to fill in the gaping hole in between. He said gaping hole. James Hart says, the knife I let get away was the Gerber Mark II. Oh, you can still get those. They're just kind of hard, and lost it on a camp out with Boy Scouts back in the early 80s. Now I just can't afford one. Oh, okay, I got you. But that's funny, Mark, because yeah, they're hard to get. And if you want the one you had back then, yeah, it's going to be hard to afford that. There was another Gerber dagger with this different style handle that was all camo and black bladed, and my buddy has one. My buddy, he's my best friend from high school and one of the best people I've ever known in my entire life. And I was just visiting him for his father's funeral several weeks back, and he's like, hey Bob, check out my knife cabinet, it's very much reduced. He was one of the guys who really got me into it. Now he collects bikes and sells bikes, and but he opened up his cabinet, still had that Gerber there, and I was like, oh man, I always wanted that knife. It's so cool. The Gerber Mark II I got when I was in high school, which my mom very awesomely got me for Christmas from Sharper Image. I had it, the catalog and the dog-eared page and everything. Man, incontrovertibly, is that right? Irreversibly rusted. It just rusted. There's nothing I could do to it. And I know how to take care of rust. I've never had a blade rust like this. I still have it. It's in in one of our bookshelves, just in case someone breaks in while I'm thumbing through an edition of something. I can take it and stab them with a rusty blade. But I wouldn't be surprised if I went and unsheathed it and the blade just fell to dust, because it was so rusty all the time. Plus, I broke off one of the quillions, the cast aluminum quillions, when learning how to knife throw. Stupid knife to bring for that purpose. Anyway, Todd Carr says, evening, everyone. Well, I'm saying to you, Todd Carr, good evening, sir. Jay Sheehan says, Lynn Thompson versus Ernest Emerson in a machete fight. Who do you have your money on? I got Lynn. I got to say, I mean, boy, I would too. Personally, I would say Lynn, but that doesn't mean that Ernest Emerson is a slouch at all. I just, and this is not to in any way besmirch the character of Lynn Thompson, because he is a stand-up guy and one hell of a guy, no doubt. But I feel like he's more of a killer to me. That's not to say that Ernest Emerson doesn't have mad skills and he's still buff as shit, and he's like 70 now, and he's a smart dude, and he's been around the game forever. But I don't know, Lynn Thompson, he's like a raging bull and with a machete I might say that. With a karambit I'd probably say Ernest Emerson. Michael Upchurch, I bought a Malinika titanium, horrible action, lock bar all the way over, returned it quickly. Oh, well, Malinkala. I'm totally not pronouncing that right, and I didn't write it down here correctly either. Malinkala. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. Now I need to check them out for sure, and see, see what's what. Sometimes if it's a custom knife, could be a lemon. Or if it's a mass-produced knife, also could be a lemon. Everything in between, it's kind of like almost inexcusable in a way. Reverend Jim Lander, good to have you here, Reverend Jim. Bob, Jim, junkies, good evening. Well, good evening to you, sir. Robert Strebin, good evening to you, Robert Strebin. Good Thursday evening, Bob, Jim, and all the knife junkies out there. I love Thursdays. Gary Bucco. Gary Bucco, I'm saying. And if that's wrong and I'm being too high-handed, let me know. Gary, good to have you here. Hello, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. From all over the world that got away, from all over the world, the one that got away from me is the Lon Humphrey Bridger. I don't know that knife. I know Lon Humphrey, and I love his gunfighter Bowie. He doesn't make it anymore, and you just can't find it. Yeah, that's brutal, man. It is at a certain point, it's almost like almost worth having someone else make the design undercover, and you might just send them a drawing of it and say, "Here, can you make this knife I designed?" And be like, "Sure." And then later they find out it's a Lon Humphrey, but they can't take it back. They've already made it. It's already in your hands. Just saying. But I know part of it is having it made by Lon Humphrey. Anthony Kitchen, nice to have you here, Anthony. Gerber Chameleon, LOL. I knew nothing. Guardian. Oh, the Gerber Guardian. Gerber Chameleon. I knew nothing. Guardian. And the Guardian. Anyway, I don't know either of those knives, unless the Guardian. I'm thinking SOG. Oh, I'm thinking the SOG Pentagon, the little boot knife. Getting my signals crossed. Pens and Penblade says, my fencing class had a free-for-all with some small foam swords at a picnic once. The blades were about 10 inches in length. We had a lot of double hits, no scientific at all, but gave me a knife fighting analog. Yeah. I've done a lot of knife sparring, but all in the Filipino school. And I remember I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I had a good friend from high school who went to a different college. And I remember meeting up with him many years after I started Filipino knife fighting, and he was teaching fencing. And I was like, oh man, with my footwork and my like badass Filipino, it was, he let me have 2 sticks, analogs for 2 machetes or 2 short swords like these. And he had his foil or an epee. I can't remember what it was. I guess it was an epee or a saber. Those are the things he did. And he kept me at bay. He effed me up, and I was so bummed. I was like, your fancy European sword fighting has no chance against my ancient jungle warfare. And he schooled me. So fencing is no joke. And then just put knives in your hand all of Bowie knife fighting is descended from saber fighting, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. Mimo said, but Lynn Thompson versus Andrew Demko. Andrew Demko is quite a badass too. He grew up, his father was an Aikido instructor. They had an Aikido school that they grew up in. So he learned all manner of Japanese bladesmanship and swordsmanship. But still, Lynn Thompson, man, he's got that mean thing. I mean, not that he's a mean guy, but I think he was. If you listen to the podcast, my interview with him, and you listen to his upbringing, it was totally unexpected. He like started life on a Brazilian farm, and then moved to Los Angeles, and he had to do a lot of fighting in his life. And I just feel like he's got that mean streak that he could summon, that he keeps at bay, that he keeps in its sheath until it needs to come out, like Jordan Peterson always talks about. Michael Upchurch says Manicala, cheap Amazon knife. Okay. So not Malinika. Two different things here then. Manicala and Malinika. Hey Shane, how you doing, man? Good to see you on the mend and back on your feed, as they say. Home from the hospital. How is everyone? We are doing well, but very grateful you are out of the hospital, sir. I showed my wife one of your postings from the hospital, and now I don't remember exactly what it was, but we both cracked up because it was funny, and I love that. You have to be able to laugh even when times are rough. You really do. I think Malinika and Manicala are very different. Malinika is the one you want to check out. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's what I wrote down. But I just want to say again, Shane, I'm very happy you're doing well. And not only is Shane a really cool stand-up guy and a great knife maker, I feel a spiritual kinship with Shane, and he and I are the same age too, and that's also something. So yeah, when you meet someone who's been around as long as you have, and I don't mean to put it that way, but same length of time, it's kind of like you have all of the same exact sort of cultural references. Just by example, I remember dating someone who was substantially younger than I was when I was in my 30s, and I felt like she was a child, except she could totally out argue me and was smarter than I was, but she didn't get any of the cultural references. So Todd says, should be interesting next year in December when Lynn Thompson can get back into the knife game. The Cold Steel NDA runs out then. Yeah, he's been doing his Hatchet Gang thing, and he's been consulting, and he showed me a knife that I believe it was Andrew Demko made for him, and it was a 7-inch version of the Tie Light. That was pretty impressive. Let's see. Edgy American says, snuck my Para 3 into the hospital in my toiletry bag. Rule number 9. That's crazy that you had to sneak it in. That's funny because I went to the emergency room when I effed up my thumb, and that's right, I could not get in with my knife. Whereas when my daughters were born, I was like well stocked with knives, thinking like someone's going to try and take my baby, and I'm going to have to fight them off. Anthony says, good job, Bob. Guardian was the Gerber version of the SOG dagger. See, I know it. It's in here. Yeah, I'm not sure I can recall it all, but it's in there somewhere, bouncing around that echoey brain. Do you ever see well, all right, that movie with the kid, and they got all the different personalities in their brain, there was a short of that where it's inside a boy's brain. It's like total chaos. Yeah. Anyway, Jay Demeter, good to have you here, Jay, from Hawaii. Hi, Bob. Was surfing the channel. Surfing the channel. Jay, to me, everyone who lives in California, Southern California, and Hawaii is a surfer, period. And I'm sure you are too. So I hope you're enjoying what I imagine is absolute beauty and sublime nature. Angry Tom says, I was on eBay bidding on a Winkler knife, and at the last second, it got away. I really wanted that Winkler knife. Maybe it wasn't meant to be at that moment. Angry Tom, you know what you can console yourself with? Maybe it was fake. Maybe it was a fake, and you would have spent a lot more money on a fake than you thought you were getting. So, but also remember, you can also just go buy a Winkler. Not that they have everything you want in stock all the time, but they have grown and in capacity. So it's probably easier for you to get. Ooh, this is a good question. Robert Strevin, what are some of your favorite knife logos? I got to say, I love the Benchmade logo, even though I'm not crazy about Benchmades, but I love that butterfly, and it harkens back to their Bally Song days when they were Bally Song, then they were Pacific Cutlery, or maybe it's the reverse. And that butterfly was for the butterfly knife. I love the Emerson logo with the two kind of things that come down that kind of look like wings. Do not like the Cold Steel logo, and I'm only I'm only talking production. One more. What else do I like? Well, good question. What do you like? Tell me what knife logos you like. Steve O'Taylor says the Guardian is double-edged fixed blade carried on the shoulder harness under a denim cutoff. Dude, nice. Sometimes over a leather motorcycle jack. Steve-O, I like your style, sir. I like that. My daughter. Oh, my God. You might appreciate this, Steve-O, because I was like, I had mixed feelings about this. My teenage daughter said, I really like strong, muscly guys with motorcycles. And I was like, at once, I was like, oh, God, thank God. Oh, God, thank God. I'm like, so the oh, God was, oh, no, someday she's going to come home, Dad, meet my boyfriend. And he'll be twice my size and on a Harley Davidson. And I'll have to, I'll have to scare him in some really diabolical way. And then the thank God part was like, oh, thank God she likes manly men, like actual men. and not the puffy haired. She likes the puffy haired kids today too, but so it was reassuring and nerve wracking all in one. Anthony Kitchen says a bit of a chore to find one of the chameleons so innovative to me. I admit it. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this one up now, Anthony. I'm not sure. Chameleon. Mimo, younger, stronger, taller martial arts training, but Lynn probably has more advanced knife fighting skills. Yes, and I feel like I feel like Lynn has a lot of dirty tactics. Probably like for instance, when I showed him the Nova, I'm sorry, the Agent 001, he's like, oh, that's nice. In reverse, obviously, you're going to hold it like this. But here's how you should hold it. He told me how I should hold my own knife. In forward grip, do it like this, because that's perfect for butting up against here. You'll get more reach. You'll reach the eyes, And I was like, man, he's probably gamed all that out. And I don't think I would hold this knife like this, but I wouldn't want to go up against him holding a knife like this. I feel like he's probably developed all the dirtiest tactics possible. And that's what you got to do. If you're in a knife fight, it's not about cleanliness. Gary Bucco says, consider, if you will, a picture and expect meshing past with present. We have Lynn Thompson versus Jim Bowie. Anyone? Well, I got to give it to Jim Bowie. I mean, right? I would have to give it to Jim Bowie, because even though Lynn Thompson had a hard upbringing and had to defend himself, let's face it, anyone living back when Jim Bowie did had it worse. A, and B, Jim Bowie. You can't vote against Jim Bowie, and I'm sure Lynn Thompson would agree. Peterbilt Knife Guy, good to see you here, sir. I love your videos. Good evening, everyone. He says, check out. Oh, and I love that. Well, I can't tell what it is, but I like that. Probably Bowie with the sheath with the stud, so it just slips in the belt. Peterbilt Knife Guy has some awesome videos. I like how he assesses knives. It's not how I assess knives, but I'm glad other people out there do. Like the thing you did to the buck knives. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that with mine, but I like knowing that someone has sort of defined the limits with that knife. Edgy American says the average pocket knife wouldn't reach Lynn's squishy bits. Got that level 1 body. I like that. That's a good term. Level 1 body armor. He doesn't have taint body armor. No one does, I don't think. And that's a deadly place to hit someone. Oh, heaven forbid. Or underarms. I bet he doesn't have fat underarms. But you got that axillary artery. You just have to get him to reach up for something, and they. Jay Sheehan says Lynn can take someone out, then go home and sleep like a baby. Yeah, then go home and practice against tatami mats. Craig Vincent says, I'm going in two different directions. The history of buff in me is always looking for historic knife designs, while the other in me is trying to keep up with current trends. It's exhausting. That's funny. Or not funny. That's interesting. I have all but... I don't want to say lost interest in current trends. That's not what I mean. But in terms of collecting, I am definitely, I used to be in a different spot where I was like, I wanted to get all the new folders, or at least all the cool new folders. And now it takes a lot more to impress me with a folder. Like the Microtex recently, you were here for me, or with me on that journey not too long ago, where I was getting a couple of Microtex here and there. I love Microtex. I love Emerson's. I love Cold Steels. I love Pinkerton design folders and stuff, but I'm generally not like, oh, the new Ketuo folder, if even that's how, you know what I'm saying? So I used to be in that position, but I feel like I've fallen back more into the traditional. I'm still a guy who likes to wear brown boots and blue jeans and t-shirts, or, nice. I'm a traditional guy. So that's kind of where I am. Like straight across the board. There are some cool new things that catch my eye, but on the whole, taking it back to the roots. Vic Nilla, nice to have you here, Vic. Always a pleasure to say, Vic. Jordan Peterson is an idiot, and his flawed logic is just silly, Bob. You're too smart to listen to that hack. Well, Vic, this is where we differ. Well, who would you suggest I listen to? Sam Harris? Let me know, Vic. Jacob Green says, I used to be a competitive fencer before Taekwondo and Hapkido. We did knife sparring one night, and my instructor made the mistake of holding back. He did that one time. Yikes. Oof. So he held back and oh, that's not good. An American father. Good evening, sir. Well, good evening to you, sir. Edgy American, Scott Stills and at Edgy Blade Works. That is some cool stuff. I like his blade designs. Has the best company logo of all. IYKYK. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. What is that? Something I know something. Anthony Kitchen. I want to get at 82 Laro Bad. I'm not sure what that is. If it's a logo with a knife attached, I like it, says Craig. Oh man, Craig. I'm kind of with you there, but there are some logos like the Cold Steel stuff. I love Cold Steel, and we all know that I have a weakness for some things that are not, sanctioned. But those logos are bad. The Cold Steel is just leave it off. Paul Mills says, Edgy, you need a laser so you can put your logo on your knives. It's a great logo. Oh, well, I got it. Oh, you're talking about Edgy American. Addicted to Knives says, always seemed a goofy way to me, but I love me some Lynn Thompson. Yeah, I mean, come on. He's like a what do you call it? Like a like the difference, like, okay, you might consider something that is super well, highly produced with good materials, like really slick materials, like a Ferrari or something, and then he's like a muscle car. Like Lynn Thompson is muscle car energy in his knives. I feel like, so maybe not as refined in some ways, but the proof is in the pudding there, and I think the pudding is tasty. James Hart says the winner of a knife fight is the one who walks out of the ER, or so my Marine told me once. Yeah, or so a Marine told me once. Yeah, I had a teacher who said he's the one who dies second. I was like, okay, I'll stay away from knife fighting. Bedtime for OG. So best of luck with the winner of the raffle. Here's my carry for today below. All right, Dave, let's check this out. Today's carry, Best Tech VK Navi. Not sure about that one. Concept Predator 2, love that knife. Off-grid rapid fire Viper, that's a sweet one. And an assisted, one of the few assisted in my collection these days. Orion Aries, that's another great one. I have that bouncing around here somewhere. RMJ Tactical UCAP. I need an RMJ in my life. I don't have any. Oh God! And then this one, Compliance Edge Copperhead Tonto. I love Compliance Edge. It's cool stuff there. Les George Galvo boot. Jeez, man. And Olight Baton Turbo. As usual, Dave just impressing the crap out of me with his sweet knives. And Dave says, good luck to all you all, and we should do this soon. Edgy American says, if you know, you know. Okay, thank you. Of course, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it. That is me. And I appreciate what Vic Nella was saying. Yeah, we differ on some of the cultural folk out there. But first of all, Vic, thanks for saying I'm too smart for that. But also, if you know, you know, like that kind of thing, man, it just tends to go over my head until, like, I've got LOL down. I know what that is. JK, just kidding. Super Beast, good to have you here, Super Beast. I want to get a fixed blade made out of MagnaCut for a great price. I could suggest, I was talking about Dirk Pinkerton before. You get a custom knife beautifully made by Dirk Pinkerton out of MagnaCut for a great price. Of course, that's a custom price, but we're talking like even within the custom realm, you get it for a pretty good deal. And he treats his MagnaCut awesomely. Who else? Lots else. There's it's all over the place now. And I'm just thinking of this. I have this one right here. This is a Dirk Pinkerton. This is a prototype. And this one is, this is S90 or S60V. He has couple of others in Magna Cut that I have. This one's in Magna Cut. This is a great knife. Aaron Bieber knives, AB knives. I think if you want a fixed blade knife and you, I think it's worth spending a little more. It's worth spending folder money, fancy folder money, for a custom fixed blade. I really do. Gary Bucco, love Jordan Peterson, Canadian saint and a genius. I wouldn't know about saint, but he speaks to me, and I needed to hear what he had to say in 2017 or whenever I first. So yeah, he left an impact on me for sure. But yeah, everyone hears what they need to hear from different people. So Mimo says there's a new sized Rat 1.5 in Magna Cut. Maybe they'll do a budget version. What's Rat 1.5? I mean, I'm assuming you mean like Ontario Knife Works, but 1.5. Interesting. Do tell, sir. Jay Demeter says when Lynn Thompson goes through TSA checkpoint, they probably call for extra table. Yeah, that's pretty good. Exactly. He's got, like, when I've seen him in person, he always has that giant, the Espada XL, and he's got some really cool filigree work in the bolster, engraving. And then he's got two of these on him all the time. Not the signature version, but he's got big knives on him. And then he's got one in his pocket here. He's got them all over the place. Victor Blades, another Vic. Good to have you here, sir. Hey, Paisano, really loving these Thursday evening knife chats. Good to have you here, Paisan. Rocking my USA-made red jig bone jumbo trapper. Oof, loving that. And I'm proud to say I grinded a half stop into it and my Demco 20 CV Cub. All right, what do you think of the? First of all, very cool that you flattened out the tang so that it comes to a half stop. That's pretty cool. Never thought of even attempting that, but never thought you could do that. I thought it had to be. I guess not. But how do you like that Cub? Let me know. Magna Cut at a great price, says an American father. Demco Free Reign. Ooh, that's good. $199, and that Free Reign looks like an incredibly useful knife. I'm not always. I mean, this is useful for some things, but I'm not always drawn to the most useful knives. But now that I've opened my eyes to more bushcrafty knives, that Free Reign looks pretty damn sweet. Not that that's necessarily a bushcraft knife, but it's more practical in that manner. Help with gadgets. Nice to have you here, HWG. Howdy, folks, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. Edgy American. I personally don't feel like Magna Cut has the properties I want for a fixed blade. Wrong application. Edgy American, are you yelling at me, or is that just cap locks on? No, I hear what you're saying. Too, because you're grinding knives and you're making knives for certain purposes. But I'm curious, what are the qualities of Magna Cut that aren't what you're looking for in a blade? James Hart, I think that Becker is now making. Oh, I think that Becker is now making one of their BK. That's right. So K-Bar did a sort of proof of concept with a limited release of the BK 6 or 9. Like last year, it was very popular. So now they're bringing Magna Cut into the K-Bar line in a much wider way, and they just released their first like full production non-limited version, and I believe it's the BK 9 or 5. I don't. It's a drop point, 5-inch drop point with the usual Becker handle. It's like the most sellingest Becker knife, if that's an expression, and that's where they're starting. But I know they're going wide with it. Smaller than a Rat 1, bigger than a Rat 2. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so it's right in the middle. I didn't even know they made one. It's like the Andella of rats. An American father, I've been carrying the Fox FX 605 for a while now, and I'm way into the big cut steel. What the hell is big cut steel? Is that a typo? Or am I being a flake here? Probably being a flake. Jacob Green says Lynn Thompson doesn't do pick checks. He does pocket checkmates. Oh yeah, he doesn't do pocket checks. He does pocket checkmates. That's pretty good. Craig Vincent says, Lynn threw a spear at a buffalo. The buffalo turned its head, swatted the spear with its horns, and immediately charged Lynn. Lynn sidestepped him like a matador and shot him dead. The man can dance. That is true, and that was straight up. I've seen that video. We've all seen that video probably. Straight up Filipino footwork. I mean, I'm sure they have that footwork in other systems, but in Filipino martial arts, it's so dependent on great footwork. And I saw him do that sort of front foot pivot, and he just the thing just went right by him and he blasted it. And that's impressive. The man can dance. You're right. Robert Strevin says, Jack Wolf and Odin Wolf are two of my favorite logos. Oh, yeah. Jack Wolf's a great logo. And because I have a sticker of Jack Wolf on my car, not just because I like the knives, but because I think it's cool. I love if we're still talking about logos, wait, do you smoke cigars? And if so, do you have any favorites? I haven't smoked them in a while, but Temperance cigars, they're not very expensive, but I liked them a lot. But I love I've been smoking a pipe lately because I'm a very cultivated gentleman. But I love the Eagle Talon from Microtech in the circle. I love that logo. Don't know why, but it's really, it really gets me. I love that, just the Eagle Talon. It looks so cool. Shane says, if I were making a knife for a saltwater deckhand, I'd go Magna Cut. Okay. BK2 says, Greg Harp's like, God, Bob, it's the BK2, man. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. BK 964. What? Yeah. BK2 and Magna Cut 5.5 with 4.25 inch stock. It's growing on me. Let me say it's growing on me. I had a BK when I lived in New York, and I gave it to a neighbor. Traded it for a service, an internet service he did for me. But it was an old Becker model, BK model. It had the same handle. I didn't like the handle back then, but it had an upswept sort of Persian-y blade, fixed blade, black, Cerakote, and all that. So what was that? I don't know. Maybe someone else can help me. I'm not even going to try stabbing at that one. Edgy American says, Bob, I just don't feel like it's worth the price difference over Nitro V for a fixed blade. Not nearly as tough. That's interesting. The toughness. And for a fixed blade, that's also, fixed blades come in many flavors. Like if you're talking a fixed blade like this, and this is not, like I said, this is S60V, but, I don't need toughness so much for a knife like this, but for, a knife like this, you probably want some toughness, something big. You're going to be doing some chopping or whatever. Kyle Kunley, nice to have you here, sir. Bob, I need to clear the air. Everyone here thinks it, but they won't say it. Your beard makes you even sexier, if that was even possible. Oh, really? You think so? Tell me again about my beard. What about my eyes? Dude, okay, so we went, as I mentioned, to my favorite diner tonight. It's a great place for dinner, and I ordered a glass of wine with my omelet, as one does, and the guy carded me. I'm like, the gray beard is an indication that I'm slightly over 21. He's like, I know it's ridiculous. It's company policy. I'm like, fine. Here, you just want to see another picture of me, just like Kyle. An American Father says, Bicut is very similar to Magna Cut, made in Italy, and much less. Oh, no, my Italian brothers are ripping off Magna Cut? Or was this something that was pre-Magna Cut? Bicut, that's funny. I thought that was a typo. Victor Blade says, hey, Bob, I highly recommend the Demko Cub. It's the perfect combination of smallish, lightweight, thin, fidgety, super slicey, and surprisingly, for such a small knife, feels solid. Do it, mio fratello. Oh, thank you. Hey, Victor, tune in on Sunday. We're going to have another Al Salviti, a nice Irish boy, is going to be on. I think you might dig him. I talked to him last night when I had to call him to say, sorry, we can't do the interview tonight. I've lost the internet. And man, awesome dude. He's from South Philly, very Italian part of Philadelphia. Maybe you'd be interested. 5-door Kunley, I want to disagree, but can't. I want to. I just can't quit your beard. Mimio says it's the beard with the flannel. Rugged charm. That's funny. This is that I've discovered that people hate this shirt, but it's my favorite. I love this shirt. And people be like, I didn't just say people be like, people will be like, oh, I see you're wearing that shirt again. I'm like, yeah. So what of it? It's my autumnal shirt. Edgy American says, we forget what Magna Cut was designed for. Well, what was Magna Cut was designed for, I thought, to be a jack of all trades, to kind of hit all three steel points as much as possible. But, right? Craig Vincent says, Cold Steel has some great budget bushcraft fixies that compete with Mora. The Fin Hawk, that is a good one. The Fin Bear and the Peacemaker 2 and 3 come to mind. The Peacemaker is odd. I have that knife and I like that knife, but it's definitely not full tang because it's got the hollow handle. I'm thinking of the right one, right? And Peacemaker, you think of being like a fixed blade or like a fighting blade. The only one there that I really agree with you on is the folding one, the Fin. I have it in my backpack. Is it the Fin Bear or the Fin Wolf? The one that's a true Scandi ground blade. The other ones, I have them like the Fin Wolf, the Fixie. It's kind of a hollow ground blade. It's not very much like a Mora, except it looks kind of like a finished. It looks kind of like a Puko, but it not in blade geometry. But I will agree with you for sure on the folding Fin Wolf. Shane says Bob is even more dapper in person. Yeah, that's right. I showed up to Blade Show in my tuxedo. Hey. Now, thanks for saying that, Shane. That's my way of being embarrassed. Mark Ridgewell says, "What is Super Steve when you need? Where is Yes, where is Steve Kalari when you need him? Indeed, he's in my kitchen. I got 3 of them, and they're so good. I love his kitchen knives. That's all we use. Every once in a while, if others are dirty, I'll use the Morgan from Vosti. That was their very first knife, and it is so good. It's a great production kitchen knife. But my Wusthof and my Shuns, they just sit there looking at me like, you used to love me, man. What happened? An American Father says Bicut was pre-Magna Cut. Okay. Bicut sounds to me like bespoke, which is a word that I don't know why, but it just sticks in my damn craw. I don't like the term bespoke. Oh, this is a bespoke leather bag. It's like, what do you mean by that? Bespoke. Like it's been spoken from on high that this is the best or something. I just don't like the term. But Bicut sounds like bespoke Magna Cut to me. So I'm predisposed to dislike it, except it's Italian. So maybe I got a soft spot somewhere in there for me. Michael Upchurch says, I want my fixed blade made with Beskar. This is the way. Oh, is that the steel in the I was gonna say Lando. It's not Lando. Whenever I'm on the spot with names, the bounty hunter, the cool ass bounty hunter that they made shows about. Is that what he uses? Because I know they say this is the way in that show. That's like, it's sort of a mantra in that show, I think. Well, I see it on bumper stickers. My wife has watched that. She loved that. What's it called? Tell me what that show is called. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I keep thinking Lando. I know it's not Lando. Todd Carr says Magna Cut was originally designed for fixed blades. They were aiming for stainless version. Oh, a stainless version of Crewwear, weren't they? Wasn't he? That was one dude, man. Lynn Thompson. Well, I guess Lynn and CPM, whoever those guys are. Not Carpenter. See, it gets late. And I'm like, oh, you're going to forget that word right before I think of it. And then I forget the word. Edgy American says, if I'm making a fixie where toughness isn't a concern, there are way better options like M4. I like M4. I definitely liked it when it was on I had the Contigo, and I really liked that blade. I hated the handle, but I liked the blade a lot. And K390, I'm interested. I like the way it patinas. It looks beautiful. And I hear works well, but you know, I'm shallow, so it's really about how it looks when it patinas. Angry Tom says, Bob, you should do a topic like the buyer's remorse. Yep. I have a few in my collection. I'm like, why the heck did I buy this thing? Well, tell me what it is right now. We don't have to have a special topic. We've done that before, and we'll do it again. But tell me which ones you regret. I'd like to know. I haven't even gotten to a pocket check yet. My goodness. Paul Mills says, I could care less about toughness unless it's a big fixed blade. Kind of feel the same. My Kalari chef's knife is my very last chef's knife I will own. Yeah. I mean, when mine is dull as a rock, it still slices. I can still go through a when I'm doing an onion. It just breezes through it. Stephen Johnson says, man, speaking of the one that got away, just missed a Sharp by Design Mini Tempest on Blade Binge for $115. Couldn't get checked out fast enough. Oh man, $115. Blade Binge is seems like a pretty sweet site. I mean, I looked there. Mandalorian. I'm sorry. I should have known that. Yes. Well, I did know it. I was just spacing it. Kyle Kunley, Picut is closer to LC200N than Magna Cut. All right, so we know that LC200N is super rust resistant, but I always had a hard time sharpening my Spidey chef. I had to send it to Mike Emler, and he put a sweet edge on it and altered the tip for me. But yeah, I always had a hard time with that. I fear we're going to lose all of our Gentleman Junkies, so I think we better give this knife away in a second. Robert Strevin says, oh yeah, I was going to ask you, with all the knives you have, do you display most of them, or do you store them in something? I store them. These are on display, obviously, and then I have others similar to this that you might see in some of the videos I shoot on the other wall, and some things like that my parents have gotten over the years in their travels on the walls. But on the whole, no, I keep them locked up. I feel like if someone broke into this house and they saw the displays, it'd be easier. So I keep them in big, heavy, rolling Craftsman drawered tool chests. And so I know that tools are at a premium and people love to steal tools, but it would be a pain in the ass to steal them out of this room, just due to where the room is located in the house and all that. So I want people, heaven forbid someone breaks into the house, but I would want them to look in here and be like, okay, I'll take some of these cool knives off the wall, but the regular screwdrivers and hammers and these things I don't need. Be like, get away with most of them. So yeah. Oh, now that I just told the world, they're in Craftsman, the world, right? Because the world is watching. But they're in Craftsman red tool cases, and yeah, that's where I like to keep them, because you can open the drawer and organize the drawer by type. That's what I've always done. But now I'm at the stage where I want to get rid of some and organize them by maker and designer. All right, Jim, let's give away this knife and then we'll do a pocket check. We're going to go in a cattywampus order tonight. But we really do have this beautiful knife to give away. So let me put this under the knife cam here just to show it off for a second. This is the Y-Start. I'm calling it Titanium Dagger. It does have a long designation, LM00576943 TI something. But it's a beautiful full titanium contoured frame lock with a very nice inlay here. This is D2 blade steel, and it's single-edged. So not what you're expecting when you hear the word dagger. You're expecting more double-edged, but you know, a lot of people get squeamish when it's a folder. They're afraid they're gonna cut their fingers. But you know, aren't we supposed to be tough? Like, can't we take that? Shouldn't we take that? This one has these awesome quillions that, yes, it waves open very easily against the pocket. Really, really nice. And then I love the pommel here. I love how it gets tightly waisted and then opens back up just a little bit, just like a Fairbairn Sykes. And it's got a beautiful blade for stabbing. It is very sharp. I should say thrusting, because we don't know if we're going to stab, but it's very sharp and can be used for anything you actually use a knife for. It wouldn't be ideal for slicing cheese real thin, I guess, or something like that, because of its triangle or diamond-like cross section. But that's what thrusting is all about. And yeah, this thing is super dope. It's got it's got the micro milling here. It's got an excellent lock bar with the relief cut and the jimping there. Just a sweet knife. And this is what we're giving away tonight to one lucky Gentleman Junkie. So, Jim, let's bring up the list of Gentleman Junkies. I'll read them off, and then we'll give this sucker away. All right, we've got 5-door Ben Belkin, Billy Ford, Byron Kennedy, Colin Maison Pierre. We have Craig Vincent, Donald Fry, Doug Bull, EDC Guy, Edwin Callow, Gavin Colitis, sorry, Gavin, Isaiah Ramirez, Jay McConnell, Jeff Hamilton, Jeff Wright, Jesse Tellis, Jock's Knife, JVF, Kay Mason, Larry Elizondo, Mark Salva, Martin Gamboa, Never Enough Knives 007, PJ DOEF, Scott Nelson, Thomas Butler, V2, thanks, Dad, and Northern Knives with Will B, bringing up the back. All right, who will be getting this? Let's put this up, and as we get the Wheel of Destiny up, I want to say thank you to our Gentleman Junkies. I greatly appreciate it, but also thank you to our tactical junkies and our traditional junkies. We appreciate it greatly. All right, let's roll that wheel in 3, 2, and 1. There it goes. There it goes. We don't know what's going to happen, really. Oh. Nicer fella. Ben Belkin of Jack Wolf Knives. We have a couple of designers and knife guys who sell knives or who make knives in that list. This one going to Ben Belkin. Ben, congratulations, sir. This is your Y-Start titanium dagger. This thing is pretty sweet. I hope you like it. Hope you never need to use it except to open up boxes. And we all know that you have other knives for that. So keep this on your person for the worst moments and handle them in a classy titanium and carbon fiber manner. This goes to you, Ben. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Your Nova 2 is in the works, just like everyone else's Nova 2. And speaking of Nova and the Nova series, we have something really cool coming up next month for Gentleman Junkies. So don't go nowhere because this is what you got coming. Next month, we'll be giving away a Nova 1. But this one is in Ivory G10. Yep, that's right. Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives got a bee in his bonnet, and not that he wears a bonnet. He's a very tough Marine Corps scout sniper, so I'm not saying that he wears a bonnet. But he got, he got a wild spirit, wild hair up his ass, I guess they say, and made a Nova 2 or Nova 1 with these ivory handles. And I said, "Oh my God, that's so gorgeous! I must possess it and then give it away to one of my lucky patrons because I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Matt. And let's just say that is a damn handsome knife. This is the original prototype of the Nova 1. So a little slightly different. You'll notice the logo is gigantic on mine and I love it, but I would never ask anyone else to carry something with such a huge logo on it. So this one's mine, but that one could be yours if you are that one could be yours if you become a Gentleman Junkie at Patreon. Just go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon, sign up to become a Gentleman Junkie, and this next month could be your knife. And coincides a lot with Christmas. And as a matter of fact, as I speak of Christmas, we'll be giving this away a week before Christmas. So consider it. Consider it. It's a pretty exclusive knife. There has never been a Nova 1 that looks like this. And with those fancy, with the fancy brass pins too, it's beautiful. Sweet looking knife. Love carbon fiber, says Michael Upchurch. Oh, I think you're talking about this one right here. Yeah. I am not always a fan of carbon fiber, but they did such a beautiful inlay on this. Usually I like the lava flows and that kind of thing. But this is going to bend. By the way, great pocket clip on this. Really nicely designed pocket clip for the body. Looks great. An American Father says, Becut takes a razor's edge, holds it all day. I use my knives a great deal. It seems to be super stainless. Huh. I got to check that out. How did I miss Becut? It's totally off my radar. Angry Tom says, my most recent purchase was the Case Sodbuster Crossroads. The quality really stinks, but I have to use that money on something else. I could have used that money on something else. I'm sorry to hear that, Angry Tom. Bob, weigh in. Bob's Pocket Knives, weigh in on Angry Tom's comment. You seem to like yours pretty well. I'm disappointed. Usually, I find that Case Knives spends extra attention on their smaller, like vastly smaller carbon steel line. So I feel like all the cases I've gotten with carbon steel have been really nice. And I'm surprised that a limited edition special thing wouldn't be like cream of the crop. So Bob, weigh in. Mark Ridgewell, Al Salviti is going to be awesome. Yeah. What a cool guy. Really cool guy. Very nice to talk to. And his like depth in training and combatives, and then the people he has trained. Wow. Very impressive. And just a cool guy. Jerry C, nice to see you, Jerry. Everyone hit that like button for Bob. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I do indeed. Joe's Garage. We could jam at Joe's Garage. Good to have you here, Joe. A question for those in the know. What's a reasonable price to pay for a semi-custom arch nemesis? Oh my God, dude. I don't know, but I wouldn't put it under 1,000. Certainly not. That is like definitely right up there with a Charles Marlowe custom knife squall for me personally. The Arch Nemesis is a perfect knife. I had one in my possession for a short while. When Alex of the Watch and Cut channel, formerly Alex's Knife Box, he sent me his custom with Rafir Noble inlays. It was one of the most incredible knives I've ever held. And the way it breaks with his special detent, that detent wedge thing that he does, God, that was cool. But if anyone knows more than I do, my totally non-scientific has to be over 1,000. Let me know, because Arch Nemesis, man, that's a sweet knife. Bozzy Coleman, good to have you here, Bozzy. Carve a replica out of wood in one of your backyard series. It would be fun. Oh, that would be fun, actually. I'm working on another spatula, and that's not as fun. I should do that. I should carve myself a cool knife. That's a good idea. And then I'll send it to the companies and say, make this in steel. James Hart. In my EDC bag, I had my standard Swiss Army Deluxe Tinker, my Gerber multi-tool, a cold steel Voyager drop point with 4-inch blade. A drop point, nice. So that's the only one that they made in the whole Voyager lineup, that in the larger version, 5.5, with jimping. I wish they would go the whole way with the jimping. I like it. In my pocket, I had the Raja 2 XL with the 6-inch blade. Sweet, sweet knife. All right. So without being too formal about it, I'll tell you what I had in my front right pocket. I had the Emerson Sax, probably my favorite Emerson, even though it's not my favorite, but it's the one I like to carry the most. I love this knife. Always have. I should get custom scales for it, but never have gotten around to it. This thing is such a beauty. I love my Emerson Sax. Today, it did the hard duty of food prep, which is an unlikely chore for that knife because it does not exactly have food prep geometry. But such a great knife. The other one I carried, or another one that I carried, is my favorite Jack Wolf knife, or definitely in my top 3 of all time, is this from the second run of Venom Jacks, and it's this particular colorway. I hate saying that. I don't know why, but this particular colorway with the dark blasted bolsters and the red dark matter carbon fiber with the dark acid wash blade. It's just so beautiful. I love that knife. So I don't usually carry 2 Wharncliffes, but I guess that's a Sax, so that's a Wharncliffe. Great knife. On my waistband today, I had the JB Knife and Tool Ditch Pick, another great one. This one is nice and light. And since I took it out of the waistband and started wearing it on my belt, just right up front, crossways, I've been carrying this a lot. It's really easy to carry. It's nice and light. Super wicked double-edged blade, very thin. It's like a 16th of an inch thin. Super tough 1095. And what I mean by super tough is they temper these ditch models. If it's from JB Knife and Tool and it has ditch before the main name, that means it's the 16th of an inch thick steel, very, very thin, but they make it really springy and tough. And this thing is just wicked. I love it. Just wicked. And then lastly, I mean, it's kind of an old school day in that not too much new on me, but I had the Bug Out with the Snaggletooth Tactical pocket opener. I've been seeing that Tren de Aragua has moved into my neighborhood, not my neighborhood, but into my area of the world here. And not that I'm gonna fight gangs with my waved knives, but this morning this is so stupid. But this morning I reached for my waved knives. I don't know. I guess I got nervous from a news story I heard, and I might need some waved knives on me today. Yeah, Bob. Yeah, sure. Whatever you need to feel secure. So that's what I had on me today. Of course, I want to know what you were carrying. But yeah. Well, in my county, they've taken the gang fighting unit and put them on busting rub and tug massage parlors. It's very demoralizing for them, or so I hear through the grapevine, through people who know. And it's a terrific waste of resources. And the resources are many in my county. It's a well-off county, and it's also replete with all of the finest gangs from around the world, and yet our gang units are busting people giving hand jobs after massages. It's a disgrace. Paul Mills says 1,600 starting price, I believe, and I believe you are talking about the old the arch nemesis. Man alive, 1,600. I'll take 3. Help with Gadgets says Benchmade 940 and Vosteed RS Chaos. That's a cool one by RS Blade Works. That's a cool looking knife. He does some very audacious designs / custom knives that he builds. And the Asher Lil Buddy. Asher Knives, man. He just continues to just kill it. He every knife he releases, I kind of watch from afar, like sells out really quickly. People love his knives. An American Father says, Boone, the coonhound in my profile pic. Oh, coonhound. So that they bark up trees, right? Like they tree raccoons, and then that's cool. It's so interesting to me how different breeds are just naturally. Well, anyway, Boone, the coonhound in my profile pic, spotted the local coyote creeping along the pasture tree line. Managed to push the window open and get after them without a tracker on. So I'm headed out in the snow. Oh my God. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. I hope snow. Where the hell are you, man? Snow. Okay. Bring weapons. I know you will. Well, he's a cutie, and he's going to take care of business. Keep that coyote away, and maybe you can blast him. Jerry C says, in my pocket is an Almar Sear. Nice. 2215. I'm not sure what that is, or I'm sure that's a designation, but that Almar Sear is cool, and that's an old school knife, and I love that knife. They did a folding sear, and they did the fixed blade sear, and then Tops Knives did their version of the fixed blade sear for like 1 year, and I didn't get my hands on one. Split and Slices says today's carry is the TPK exclusive Appalachian Ridge Runner in S90V and jigged titanium. Ooh, we have an aristocrat. I love that. That sounds awesome, man. I love traditional pocket knives, jigged titanium knives. I only have one. I have the hedgehog that they did. Edgy American says, carried my custom Boondock Saints TR4 auto today. Oh, TR4, the ProTech TR4. So this has Boondock Saints. I know you're a big fan of that movie. This has like the logo from that movie or pictures of the characters on it? Joe's Garage. My go-to regular carry is the Mannix Lightweight in Rex 45. What do I have? Oh, I have Rex 45 on the Mystic. That's a great steal. Well, patina's nicely and seems to hold a great edge. Split and Slices says, good luck American Father, as a fellow treeing coonhound owner. How cool. I've lived a very urban life. Well, I grew up in the suburbs and then on my own volition, lived in the big cities for a long time. I remember in high school being like, I can't wait to move to New York. There's like steam everywhere coming out of the streets and guys playing saxophones, and you just kind of wander around in your trench coat and in slow motion. I couldn't wait. I learned that there's more to city living than that, but all of those years, like now I'm like, wow, I'm glad I had that whole experience. That's one kind of jungle. Now I wouldn't mind experiencing some of the other kind of jungle, like God's kind of jungle, like chasing coyotes at night. Adrian Fighter 35 says, my carry for today was the Cold Steel Voyager XL Crisp Blade, a fine choice. The Mini Tac Bowie, double agent 2 serrated Bowie style, and I got that. I have that one with the straight edge, and that was a wedding. I was in my good buddy Mike's wedding party, and that's what he gave me. Nice choice. And I just got a Trailmaster in CPM 3V for my birthday. That is awesome. Trailmaster is definitely my most used and hard used knife in this entire giant collection, and I've had mine for a long time, like over 25 years. I know that. So Magna Cut in 3V. I'm sorry, Trailmaster in 3V. You cannot go wrong. That one will serve you forever. The only problem is that I wish Cold Steel would make leather sheaths again. Lo and behold, but you might just have to have, if you want one, just have one made, I guess. Mimo says the GB2 micarta in crew wear. So that's GB2. Not sure I know what that is. I was thinking GM2, like Giant Mouse, but Kyle Coonley says, the only wrong with a little ain't nothing wrong with a little rub and tug. That's why I say get the gang units off of that and send them out after the gangs, man, because they see fertile territory here. Paul Mills says, Kyle, as long as you're not. All right. Yes. All right. Let me show you this. This thing is sweet. This was sent to me by the great and powerful Doug Bowl, an awesome gentleman junkie who I think is not here for a couple of weeks. But he sent me a care package that is so cool and thoughtful and awesome. And this is a forest Bowie. And it's rumored that this is what, and I know everyone says this about every Bowie knife, but apparently this was the kind of knife that was made for him, one of his early knives that was used at the sandbar fight. Again, I don't know, but it is really cool. And I know that the Forest Bowie, I can't remember the name of the guy, something Forest, but Bark River Knives made a version of this, I think last year. And it's just, I'm going to bring this to the main camera for a second, just so you can see, like, it's a big knife. And, oops, sorry about that. It's a big knife, and I love it. I got it yesterday, and he forgot to pack the sheath. He's going to send that in a different package. But I've been just kind of carrying it around with me, just kind of placing it like last night. I was watching Mr. In Between, place this down on the table in front of me, pick it up every once in a while, and it feels good in hand. It's very sharp. It's not, I don't want to say generic, but it's definitely got a lot. It has no name on it, and it's got a lot of signs that it was made by hand. You can see kind of some of the chatter here from the grinder, and It is really cool. I really like it. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Doug. And thank you for being a gentleman junkie. But man, he sent me this. He has sent me the Ek/K bar dagger. He sent me that really cool Wildcat from Stingray. I'm sorry, from SOG knives. And then in the package, he sent me this. This book is awesome. I can't wait to read this. The Blade Warrior, and it's from the guy who does Bastard or Berserker Blades, and it's got illustrations, and it's very see that's why you don't use a folding knife, but it's got all these great illustrations on how to hold knives, different ways to fight with knives, different ways to carry and deploy fixed blade knives for self-defense. And it is really cool. I can't wait to get into it. Yeah, different ways to strengthen your hands, and different places to cut, and then it gets pretty graphic in different places to attack on the. So it is underground knife combat secrets. It does not flinch at all. I'm very much looking forward to reading this. And then he sent me a St. Michael's challenge coin, and I love St. Michael. I say the St. Michael prayer after my Our Father and my Hail Mary every night before bed, and it gives me strength. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits that prowl the world, seeking the ruin of souls. It's a cool prayer, and it gives me strength. And it's like, yeah, man, if someone comes in this house while I'm sleeping, they are dead people. Now I have dead people in my living room because this is my house, and you don't come into my house uninvited. Anyway, so I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, Doug, for sending me these things. They mean an awful lot. And Forrest Bowie, God, just what I need, more Bowies in my life. And I mean that. I'm not even being sarcastic. I really do. I just keep coming back to Bowies. They will always be my favorite. And I think part of that has to do with the American heritage of them. Jerry C says, I've got the folder sear. It was very inexpensive, but I can't believe the build quality of it so much. I ordered another one and put it back in the gun safe. Oh, what? Okay, all right. I do remember I remember in the 80s when I was in middle school and high school, I remember seeing in some catalog the Sears, and they had the polished micarta scales with the polished bolsters. And the blades are so cool on those sear knives, whether it's the fixed or the folder. I love the blades. Beautiful drop point. Pardon me, guys. I need to get an Almar knife in my life. Michael Upchurch says, I'm in Indy to went. I'm in Indianapolis or Indiana, I guess. I'm in Indiana too. Went sledding with kids today. Still snowing. Oh my God. Okay. My wife today said, we're supposed to be getting snow. Someone said, oh, I guess my mother-in-law said we'll be getting snow. We looked it up. No, but she must have been seeing the forecast elsewhere. Indiana's got snow. It's that time of year. My girls keep saying it's Christmas time. I'm like, it's not Christmas time. It's autumn. It's Thanksgiving. Like you can't say that until after next week, but they just insist. We have Ghost Keeper. Very cool song called Ghost Keeper. I like it anyway. Kubi Very Hero. My favorite titanium frame lock. Very Hero. How do you pronounce that? I'm Very Jero. Very Hero. Now I got to look that up, and we'll see what that is. Hey, Jerry C says, also just got in the mail today the Cold Steel OSS. Nice. I love the OSS. Now, the OSS is a version of this style knife. This is the Bob Loveless, one of the greats of knife making. One of the guys who started the blade, right? Wasn't he the guy who started the Knife Makers Guild? Anyway, this is a Loveless style sub hilt fighter. So that's a long, slender clip point blade with both edges sharpened all the way to the hilt. And then at the hilt, you've got two hilts. You got a sub hilt and a regular hilt. And the sub hilt is there for extracting and using as a trigger, basically, for certain kind of techniques. But basically, if it gets jammed in something, you can pull it out. It makes it easier to pull out. Plus, it just looks cool. Come on. Sub hilts just look damn cool. And the OSS is an awesome, awesome sub hilt. I have one, and I've had it for years, and I keep it now. I have it in a special place in my house, stashed away. I guess I can tell you. It's on the fridge. It's right on top of the fridge. And come to think of it, it's kind of a silly place to have it because of all rooms in the house. There's no shortage of knives in the kitchen, but still, I felt like I kind of needed one. So congratulations on your OSS purchase. That is a super sweet knife. And when I had I for my 50th birthday designed this, or made a drawing of this knife to have it made, and was poring over my OSS to get the ratios proper and everything. And I love that knife. And I wish they would make the okay, so they have the Black Bear Classic, which is the OSS. It's more like this. It's got the polished micarta, and it's got the polished aluminum guards and everything. And they used to sell it in a beautiful black leather sheath. Now they have this gorgeous knife, but it's going into Kydex. And yeah, it's good, but it's not, it doesn't fit the blade. The blade needs leather, if you ask me. Mimo says, you need the St. Michael edition Spartan Harzy. You don't say. Well, that'd be a lie to say I never thought of that. But every time I've seen it, I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, I should get that, so I can vanquish my foes in total classiness. Todd Carr says, cool book throw in a medical text for what happens after you'd be set. Wait. Cool book throw in a medical text for what happens after you'd be set. All right, I think I know what you're getting at, Todd. And yeah, like you have that knife that book that shows you how to do the damage, and then you get another book to show you how to clean it up. I'm actually making the PSA at work about hemorrhage control. Edgy American says, PSA, my handmade knives have signs they're handmade, and I'm proud of it. Oh yeah, they should. I mean, in my opinion, even this super refined knife by someone who's been making knives for 30 years has signs that it's handmade. And I agree, it should. Wait, am I agreeing with myself? Did you say it should? Yeah. And PSA, I still need to get my hands on one of your knives, because besides looking cool and being made by you, I have a feeling that they're going to cut like, I think they're probably awesome, great knives, just knowing your, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, the stipulations you put on knives that you appreciate. I think they're awesome. James Hart says, yes, I only have 3 Bowie knives, all very large. I do have the Buck 119. I love the 119 and the 120. I also guess clip point, they could be Bowie knives. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely they're obviously clip point knives, and I call it a Bowie. Some people will get some people get super technical and say, well, if it's not a 1/4 inch, it's not a Bowie. And if it's not 10 inches long in blade length, it's not a Bowie. I think that's a purist speaking. We've got snow here in Southwest Ohio. So I wonder if my folks in northern Ohio have it. I'll have to find out. We're going there sometime soon. Over under pull. Good to have you here, sir. Thanksgiving coming up. I am thankful for you and you sharing your passion. Thank you, man. That's awesome. That means a lot to me. Over under pull. I'm grateful that you're here, sharing with us in all of this craziness. Look at that. That thing is so cool. I feel like I can see a pattern in the blade steel at certain. So I'm not sure if it. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. Here, let me see if you can see this. What I'm seeing is the pattern from the bubble wrap. And for a second there, I was like, oh, that's interesting. How did they put this steel together? But it's the bubble wrap. So I haven't really wiped this thing down. So it's a very, very cool knife, though. Isaiah Ramirez, you're looking at a man with purple scales on his off-grid Rhino XL. The second die worked. Oh, really? Okay, so I love the off-grid Rhino X. Oh, not Rhino XL. I think you're talking about the Bowie. Ooh, excuse me. Called the Cayman XL, right? Are you talking about the Cayman? But anyway, I know the handle scales you're talking about. I know the material you're talking about, and I'm surprised you were able to dye those purple. That sounds awesome. I also like the cognitive dissonance there, oh, it's a purple handle, how could that possibly be? That's so charming. It's you know what I mean? Sometimes color can throw people off. Or maybe that's just in my mind. Craig Vincent says, interesting, Bob. I grabbed my Peacemaker 2 and my cans bowl. They're so close, like me and my brother cousin. Okay, different address, but same dad. I can send them if you want to try them out in the yard. I'd be interested in the cans bowl. I do have the Peacemaker, the cans bowl. That is a Craig. That's a Mora, right? What about the Garberg? I would like to get the Garberg, but I've heard kind of not worth the extra money, though it does have a full tang, and that the full tang at the pommel is 90 degrees, so you can throw sparks, but full tang sort of implies, oh, well, now you can baton with it. But I've already, I baton with my companion. I've baton with that plenty, and I've never had any issues. Jerry C says, and then to top it all off, I'm waiting for a Cold Steel SRK6 in VG10 San Mai and a small Kyoto to come in the mail. I've had a hard on for Cold Steel lately. Oh, dude, it's hard. It's hard to put that thing down, man, with Cold Steel around, one might say, if one were so inclined. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Cold Steel. Though I got to say, right now, I'm more interested in the older Cold Steels. Not as much into the newer ones, I got to say. Like the Mayhem. I don't have the Mayhem, and if it were $100 less expensive, I might go for it. But I don't have the Mayhem. I don't have any of the new designs. Though I got to say that Patriot, is that what it's called? The American-made S35VN leather sheath bushcraft knife looks really cool. An American father says Boone is back in the house. Aw, good boy, Boone, or girl. Good boy, good boy. You go after that coyote, wild dog. You tell him where to stick it. I am in Southeast Indiana, Vevey, and it's starting to accumulate. Someone else was just here saying that they're in Indiana, and they too have it. Edgy American, batoning is for a man without an axe. That's true. I've actually man without an axe, or a man like who just wants to baton, because it is gratifying. It is very gratifying. But I have since started using my hatchet, and that's also gratifying. I have a couple of hatchets. I have a real fancy one that a buddy of mine gave me years ago. It's a Gainsford Holtzbrook Gaines. I don't have my glasses on. I can't read it. I always forget what it is, but it's one of the German ones. It's nice. It's really nice, nicely put together. But my $12 Home Depot hatchet kind of works better, at least for how I use it right now. So I like them all, but I am looking for other axes. I like that. Yes, batoning is for really batoning. I caught my attention with Nuttin' Fancy when he'd go camping up in the Rockies, and he didn't want to take a hatchet, but he'd be testing out knives, and he'd say, "Oh, sorry guys, you're not boring me. I'm boring myself." No, I'm just kidding. And he would take knives with him because he's like, oh, "Why take a hatchet when I'm bringing all these knives?" And he'd baton. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's a cool way to use a knife. It's fun." Edgy American says, "Batoning is a useful skill. It's safer." Yeah, you're probably right about that, because I end up with my hatchet using it like a baton anyway, where I will place it on there and knock it into the wood. I'll do that sometimes. Or I'll set it up and balance it and try and just chop it, because it is gratifying to see a thin log go and then the sound it makes. Okay, Jim, bring that back up. I love this. Knives out, cookies ready. Another awesome design by our producer Jim, the man behind the magic here. This thing is cool. Go to theknifejunkie.com/shop. There are tons of t-shirts that he's designed, but I really like the one that he keeps pulling off so fast. I love the term knives out. You know, it's knives out for Trump now that he's won the election, or it's or the song Knives Out by Radiohead, great tune. I like the expression knives out, but then because it means like, well, you know what it means. But then cookies ready is like kind of lightens it. So I like it. It's nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Go check that one out. And I want to see you wearing it next time I see you. Oh, speaking of Bowie knives, I haven't shown this one off in a while. This is one that my brother got me. And it is definitely an antique. And I'm like 99% positive. I guess positive. You have to be to use positive. I guess you got to be 100%. So I'm 99% sure that this is Southern, but this is the beautiful sheath my brother made for it. But look at this thing. I think this is a Confederate Bowie. This sucker is old, like legitimately old. You can tell from the steel. And just look at this thing. And this swedge is a fighting swedge that comes to a 0 ground edge. So this thing is just not only a very cool artifact, but it's just very cool. Look at that thing. And it reminds me a little bit of that Cayman XL from Off Grid Knives we were talking about. It's got that deep. I bet Shane hates this knife. He's not a big fan of Bowies, and I think this is the kind of Bowie that really he dislikes. But it's basically a Scandi ground. I mean, it's full width till right at the edge, and then it's a convex or apple seed edge. Up here with the swedge, it's way more of like a 0 ground straight, flat ground edge. Really old knife, man. Old handles. Everything about this is original. It's got it's got the 6 pins in the handle. So best I can tell from the research I've done on this is a Confederate Bowie. I love this thing. My brother, well, I talk about him a lot. He's an awesome dude. He's a very accomplished man, but also a good and weird, just like me. Like he and I have some weird hobbies, some weird tastes, and just when we get together, we're just weird together. We had an interesting experience. We both went to my buddy's dad's funeral a few weeks back. And the funeral just so happened to be at the location of both of our very first jobs. When I was 14, and I'm 4 years younger than he is, and when he was 14, we both had our first jobs, and it was working in the locker room of a country club that we could climb the fence in our woods to get to. So that was our first job, and I was there 4 years after him, I guess. And it was everything you would imagine working in a men's locker room at a country club was. It was gross. It was humiliating, but it was also a lot of fun. It was a first job, and I learned how to inhale and smoke cigarettes there. That was awesome. And, it was interesting. But anyway, we got a chance to go back. For me, I guess it's like 40 years since I've had that job, or the 39 years. And we're walking around, and every employee we see, we're like, we used to work here. You could be like us one day. I talked to a 14-year-old kid. I'm like, I used to have this job. Don't worry, life gets better. He's like, oh, good. It was funny. But my brother's the man. I love him dearly, and man, he just gets me the coolest old knives. I love him. Jerry C. Bob, one of your vids from last week or so ago, I think you were batoning and cooking outside with that huge pig sticker. I left a comment mentioning the best and cheapest Tinder plain dryer lint. Oh, yes. I use that all the time. I use the dryer lint, and I'll put it under because if you put the dryer lint down and then put the sticks over it, you can throw sparks into the dryer lint, and they go through, and it's so flammable it catches. Yeah, I love it, and we never have a problem with dryer lint. I swear to God, laundry is done every single day in this house with a wife and 2 girls. You know, I do my laundry once a week, but I swear they do laundry every day. So we always have good dryer lint. And then I've also figured out, cotton makeup wipes with just a little bit of wax on them, candle wax or something like that. And you just rough it up a little bit, and you can do it when it's wet. Craig Vincent says, I have delusions of grandeur. I want a Bagwell Bowie. So do I. I want a Bagwell Bowie, like almost more than any other knife. And a Mac V SOG. This is my Mac V SOG. This is an old SOG Super Bowie. I know it's not the one you probably want the Vietnam era original, but this is sweet. This is from when SOG was making awesome knives before they went big box and then rebranded and then got sold to GSM, where they don't seem to give a damn about SOG anymore. But these were the knives they used to make, and man, they are so sweet. I love them. You can still buy this knife, by the way. And they also make the 6-inch, the regular version of this, which I recently bought for my brother because he doesn't have a Mac V in his collection. I love this knife. Jim, you had another thing up there. Paul Mills says, I've got a big maul fixed blade. I've got a big maul fixed blade called the Pig Sticker. It's like 15 inches overall, my biggest fixed blade besides a few swords. 15 inches. So to me, like over 13 inches in blade length, you're approaching short sword territory. I don't know if that's technically true. That's just how I look at it. Actually like that SOG. Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like Jim is censoring my hate for Jim. Thank you, Jim. I told him beforehand, if Shane pipes up about Bowies, you know what I mean? No. He's making shit up. He's like, oh, I like that one. That's really nice. And then when he gets in with a comment, he's gonna be like, but the other one is despicable. Yeah. All right, guys. I feel myself winding down. Paul Mills says it was a $15 maul knife. Hey man, you can still do a lot of damage with a $15 maul knife. Might not win any beauty contests, but you know, it might just help in a road rage incident or something. Oh God, I shouldn't even say that. I live in the land of road rage. Not that there's a lot of road rage that happens here, but this is fertile territory for it. And I'm really, really trying to keep my temper in line every day. And, you know, stress is a killer. They say the body doesn't know the difference between traffic stress and being chased by a tiger. And I believe it. So try to be patient, Bob. Lord, give me patience. That's what my mom used to say when I would annoy her. Lord, give me patience. I say, Lord, yeah, please give her patience. Pete Davidson, howdy, blokes. SOG had some great knives. Hey, Pete, I hope you're doing well. I wish I had one of those fat cat folders from the early 2000s with the carbon fiber clad blade. Ooh, yeah, I remember those. Split and Slices. Thanks, Bob. Jim and Junkies. Thank you, Byron. Have a great Thanksgiving and see you in 2 weeks. Byron, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And have a great weekend, too, leading up. Craig Vincent, I love the kitchen knives. Making sandwiches possible. Can I get it on a cap? Yeah, making sandwiches possible. Yeah, that's right. I remember that logo or that motto. Not sure. Yes, you can, says Jim. Yes, you can get that on a hat. So go for it, man. Just go to the website and go to theknifejunkie.com/shop and you'll be able to do it there. Todd Carr says, have a great night, everyone, and keep making sharp things fun and enjoyable. Thank you, Todd. You too, man. Always great to have you here. James Hart, great show tonight, but this old man has to get some sleep, as does this one. So good night, all. And yes, see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you, James. Have a great night. Have a good Thanksgiving, Bob, and everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. Mark Stallman, best to all. God bless America. Indeed, God bless America, Mark. And thank you for joining us tonight. Greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, guys, I love you all. Have a wonderful time. Stay close with the ones you love. Be safe. And I'll see you here in 2 weeks. All right, for Jim, working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until 2 weeks from now, that's next time, don't take dull for an answer.